Listeners who didn't wish to hear about such things should turn off their radios.
It's early January, that most sacred time of year, when pseudo-intellectuals like myself make a bunch of predictions about what's going to actually happen this year. That's right, PREDICT-O-RAMA 2023 is upon us. And this year, I've provided 7 predictions about big tech that cover everything from social platforms to AI and everything in between. And so let's jump into this year's 3rd prediction. Synthetic media will be regulated. From Chat GPT on the textual side to technologies like Midjourney on the visual side, we've seen a tremendous maturity in generative AI over the past 6 months. And though all of this is really exciting, generative AI still has a really long way to go, and it's pushing on the ethical boundaries of IP law and accountability. In my overview video, which I'll link above, I noted that both the rise of AI and governmental regulation were 2 of the forces that are informing what big tech looks like this year and beyond. And with synthetic media, this is a prime example of these forces coming together. Okay, so what's synthetic media? At a high level, it's anything that's generated by AI. So this could be anything, from text and voice to images and even animation. If AI created it, you could call it synthetic media. Let's start with dynamically generated art. Midjourney, OpenAI's DALL-E 2, Lensa, and the like, all of them, they can create these incredible images in just seconds, often using just a text prompt. So let's say I typed in a prompt like Mark Zuckerberg senior year portrait with his magical squirrel friend. You'd get an image like this. So good. If your social feed is anything like mine, it's become a sea of these AI-generated images, and they really are remarkable. The AI can generate pictures in essentially any style, but therein lies the problem. If the AI is using existing art to create new art, then who owns that new art? Adobe recently announced that it would be the illustrators who get the ownership rights for images that have been created using AI that they sell on their stock imagery platform. But a lot more has to be done to solve these underlying problems. You know, I'm reminded of the early days of sampling in hip-hop. In the beginning, artists could sample kind of freely because the music industry didn't exactly know what to make of this new art form. And so, for example, Beastie Boys' Paul's Boutique would cost an estimated $20 million to make today because of all the samples that they used. But there just wasn't regulation back then. Over time, though, creators agreed upon an amicable relationship between new artists and the original sample owners through licensing and royalties. And the same needs to happen with visual media because the volume of new images that are being created every single day is accelerating the need for this kind of regulation. So that's on the visual side. And there's a lot more we could talk about there, but I think the issues on the textual side are actually far more pressing. You know, a few weeks ago, Chat GPT was used to generate fake scientific abstracts and research papers that they then submitted to various institutions and the like. And those fake papers fooled real scientists into thinking that they were real nearly a third of the time. I mean, think about that. Imagine if over the next 5 years, let's say, if these fake AI-generated papers were to actually make their way into scientific literature. I mean, that would undermine and sabotage the entire scientific enterprise because the whole premise there is to build truth on top of other truth and so on. And there's every motivation for a number of bad actors to do just this kind of thing. Look, I'm definitely not here to fearmonger, but I'm just trying to illustrate that now is the time to regulate these technologies. One of the beautiful things and the challenge with these kinds of technologies is that they tend to grow in sophistication non-linearly. Said differently, this is only Chat GPT 3. With the billions of queries that it's going to garner over the next few months, you can guarantee that Chat GPT 4, 5, and 6, etc., they're going to be orders of magnitude more sophisticated, powerful, and potentially dangerous. And what might be my most dangerous move yet? I actually asked ChatGPT how we as humans should go about regulating AI. But that's kind of like asking Frankenstein where he'd like to stay so that he won't hurt us. The bottom line, though, is that there really isn't an easy answer here. So back to my prediction, that synthetic media will be regulated this year. I could see regulation coming in a number of different forms, both internally and externally. It's very much in OpenAI's best interest to keep people's fears at bay so that they can continue to grow and be in business. So for example, maybe they'll restrict queries that have overt potential harm through their use and things like that. I could also see them working to make their AI more transparent by showing things like confidence scores, and things like this with every answer to self-depose, if you will, the biases and challenges of each idea that's being generated. But there's a lot of ways that all this could go. And then on the governmental side, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see a new tax start to emerge over the next 12 months that will be applied to industries that leverage this kind of AI to dissuade its use. And also disclosure laws that would require companies to disclose when they've used AI, especially when it's being implemented for strategic decisions and not just rote automation. All that being said, all of these ideas have their own problems as well, and there really isn't an easy answer here. Sam Harris suggested that we need to have a Manhattan Project for AI the same way that we did around nuclear technology in the 40s, and I agree. But the speed at which these technologies grow, they're going to far outpace the speed of any bureaucratic legal system. I mean, it's probably already too late. Regardless, some kind of regulation is coming this year, and the problem to be solved here is attribution for accountability and monetization, as well as standards for when and how to use this kind of AI. We'll see. If you like this content, be sure to check out the other prediction videos in this year's PREDICT-O-RAMA. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that stuff. I'll see you in the next one.